team. Also putting River on the Kazakhs, getting him out to a nice early lead where he was able to get them to the point where they could then have everybody else take over the game, felt really nice. So let's see what changes in the draft here. Cloud9, again, going to be playing from the blue side. Sion and Lissandra banned away. Golden Guardians taking out the LeBlanc and the Lulu.
I think the Lulu is a good ban here for Golden Guardians to take away on anything that buffs up Berserker. You don't want any extra power going into this player for Cloud9. Deny him, even if he does still go with either the Jinx or the Aphelios.
I wonder what this first pick will be. With the Vi banned away, we will not see a return of the Viari. So the Cassante, of course, that is what replaced it. No reason not to. A flex pick for C9. They can play both in mid and top. It's been, I think, one of the most successful picks we've seen at the tournament, just in terms of its flexibility, its power, its durability. Cassante, very, very strong. This, of course, does give Golden Guardians the opportunity to lock in their bot lane. And I was about to say, Zeri Maokai make a lot of sense. Don't bother with the Jinx, the Aphelios. You've proven that this champion, not only are you very comfortable on it, but it's just as 200 years as every other AD carry in the meta.
Absolutely. The Zeri for Stixxay looked so much better in Game 3 than the choices in the first 2 games.
And it's just what you wanted with Teamfight here. Comfort for Stixxay, late game carry teamfight, Maokai, perfect setup and control for these teamfights.
Now in the previous series, gentlemen, we were all behind the scenes in the Caster Green Room watching BLG versus JDG, and I will tell all of you watching from home right now the amount of audible groans when Nidalee was locked in after seeing an enemy Zeri. It was quite a symphony. But now here again, Cloud9 are the ones saying, all right, let's use the Nidalee. How do we feel about this locked in together with the Jace?
So they don't have this Nidalee with one of the traditional pairings of a CC to guarantee that you can hit your spear, but they just have extra poke here with Nidalee Spears plus Jace Shock Blast here for alternate damage type poke composition for Cloud9.
I mean, I'll just be blunt. I think that Nidalee is a champion that is very difficult to execute, and Cloud9 have not demonstrated to me yet this tournament that they have the ability to execute a Nidalee. If they do, I will be impressed. Okay. But if you're Golden Guardians and this is what you're playing into the Nidalee, I'd be a very happy Golden Guardians fan.
Yeah, the Poppy has done so much for these objectives, ejecting people, getting them out of there. Nidalee and Jace, you're gonna have to get a lot of value out of that poke. Stopping them up before these team fights, get to the objectives first. But we gotta look at the response here. You assume Jinx and Aphelios probably banned away from Berserker?
Yeah, considering they've already got the Zeri locked in, no AD carry pick in the first half of the draft, and Jinx and Aphelios have just been the meta over and over and over and over and over again in so many of these games. So if you can knock Berserker a little bit lower on that tier list, considering he is the plan for Cloud9 in a lot of these games, that might be the secret sauce here.
I actually think Golden Guardians should consider something like a Braum ban, and then they first pick the Rakan. Okay, they're going to ban away 8 carries. Because Xayah Rakan becomes the next big pot lane pick for C9. I think that the Tristana ban is really good. Your expectations are that when you have the Maokai, teams are so willing to pick an AD mid lane champion to complement it that Tristana does make a lot of sense. We know that Gore is no stranger to Yone as well. I do wonder if they will consider that. I don't think it would have the easiest time in lane, but if they just want to remove some of those champions, instead they're just going to prioritize the Ahri. So I do love a Rakan here. Just gives you more engaged tools. It would also just deny the Xayah Rakan pairing, but at the same time, you could argue that because we have the Poppy, we don't mind you getting the Rakan for yourself.
I think it's exactly what you need, because the best counter to these poke comps is hard engage. You need more and more hard engage, and Cloud9 are going to triple down on their poke, it looks like, with a Varus pick as well if they lock this in. That is going to be super heavy poke, super heavy pressure. They throw the Heimerdinger on top of it. It's massive poke damage here versus can Golden Guardians get the engages?
Massive poke damage and massive lane power in that bottom side that has been such a focus so far in this series. That's Cloud9's game plan, but if they get engaged on, they're in trouble. And you know what a great answer to long-range projectiles is, my friends? The ability to stop them all in their tracks. It's a Yasuo lock-in for Gory and the Golden Guardians.
And Golden Guardians have a lot of displacements to be able to set up this Yasuo. So many things to be able to trigger the ultimate. And that is guaranteed engage. You just need somebody to get there, somebody to get to the back line, hit a knock-up, and you're in.
So the beauty of this Yasuo as well is, earlier I talked about how I think Golden Guardians should just prioritize focusing, playing around the objectives, going for these 5v5s, playing for team fights, especially if you're able to find these advantages in the early game. not only can they do that, they have people that can match inside as well. They can play 1-3-1 with a Yasuo and a Poppy, which means the Golden Guardians really have all their bases covered. It's just about C9 have said, we want way more agency in early game, and they have a lot of power to do so.
Yeah, you need to snowball with these poke comps. You need to pressure lanes. You have to get an advantage early and get some turret plate money and keep up that extra damage.
Well, here we go. The Cloud9 poke machine versus the massive amount of knockouts, displacement, team fighting, and the Yasuo to complement it from the Golden Guardians. Back in the finals of LCS, Cloud9 won the series 3-1. Golden Guardians would love nothing more than to stop a repeat of that here in this fourth game, win these back-to-back, and take us to a game number 5. C9 fighting out of the blue, Golden Guardians fighting out of the red. It's game number 4 in an elimination match. Let's see how Cloud9 want to play it with this early game comp.
So a massive stack on the bot side of the map. Getting that lane control is incredibly important. Everyone around the world likely should have seen this before, where you stack, sweep. Basically just look to make sure you control these bushes for the early levels. Golden Guardians, though, don't really have any information of this. I feel like ideally they would have loved to understand what is happening so they can look to try and get that ward on the enemy jungle so they can keep track of what Blabber is up to.
Wow, and Berserker here going with the refillable potion start. Thank you, observers. Refillable potion longsword start. Funny timing there. Does mean you're looking to try and push the wave very quickly to get your recall off. Often referred to like a cheater recall here for Cloud9. You want to push super heavily, use your refillable potion charges, but then get your recall off early so you can go back and get your purchase.
Nice little bit of damage there early on to Berserker, thanks to the grand entrance over the wall from Huhi. And the goal is survival here in the early stages of the bottom lane for the Golden Guardians. Varus and Heimerdinger have so much push, so much damage, so much range, so much control in the 2v2 against the vast majority of matchups.
All right, gentlemen, the thing you really have to keep your eyes on is Blabber doing red. He could, if he wanted to, immediately move over to blue and start contesting enemy jungle buffs. He has the push in bot lane to be able to support him in that exchange as well. And you'll notice this ward in the river actually spots out for that potential play. They initially warded the entrance to the red on the top side and the entrance to the dragon pit so they can keep track of that as a really good trade comes out from Gory in mid.
Yeah, Gory doing a great job here, just immediately unafraid to go in against the Cassante of M&S.
Is this the counter? Is this the unknown counter? Like, I've never gotten to see this matchup, but Gory already at level 1, well, level 2 rather, getting ahead of M&S in the 1v1.
And speaking of those wards, he's going to come over and lock off the other entrance point here by Raptor ramp. But Blabber's going to go over the back of the dragon while that other ward has already expired. You see that red dot there? That was the defensive ward for Golden Guardians. Blabber gets around Gory's fresh one. M&S, Q3, Q3.
Looking for it, goes in, finds the stun into the knockback. Blabber marks him with the spear. Gory waits for the jump and then flashes away back to safety.
Well played there by the mid jungle of Cloud9. I believe that Gory didn't quite have the window to get his wind wall up to block the spear. He needs to get control over this wave right now. Ideally, he wants to push it underneath the tower. Nice trade there. But yeah, he's a little hesitant right now as Nidalee stealing away those top camps.
Yeah, and Nidalee here up to the top side off of Krugs with a pushed in Licorice at tower. Fudge trying to land a bunch of poke under here, stopping him up as well. Blabber leaving behind the extra vision. M&S pushes it back out.
Yeah, M&S feeling a lot better in this lane after that gank from Blabber that forced the flash away from Gory, found a good chunk of damage in there too. Now it's M&S with total control here in the matchup, shoving Gory back underneath the turret, getting that wave forced up. River is waiting so that he knows Blabber's coming in here, but Blabber can easily defeat Maokai in a 1v1 jungle battle. Gory's trying to clear out the wave, but he's gonna be cleared out instead. It's first blood over to M&S.
And that ward, they saw him coming, but they can't do anything about it. You mentioned Maokai in the brush. Great, he gets pushed off bottom lane.
Who he's burning away, but he barely survives. Golden Guardians are seriously under pressure in this early game.
This is exactly the pressure that Cloud9 need to exert in the early game to make this comp work. They get the kill, the dive onto mid lane, bottom lane pushes in as well.
And Cloud9, they're stomping top, they're stomping mid, they're stomping bot. In terms of advantages, obviously a little bit of help from the jungle in the mid lane. Fudge, though, he's already overextended a little bit, but he's fine, keeps the wave pushed in, and you can see that CS discrepancy continuing to build. Cloud9 knew what Golden Guardians wanted to do in the draft. We were skeptical about whether or not they'd be able to find these early leads, and so far, they've already built a 2K gold difference.
Exactly, 2,000 gold off of 1 kill. Even First Blood with assist money is only 600 gold's worth of value, so that other 1.5K is just Cloud9 building up these leads through the farm, through the matchups, through the advantages they have in all these lanes.
Yeah, and even the efficiency of the items. We mentioned the refillable potion start for Berserker. He goes back and refills it. Meanwhile, Stixxay, while being down CS, also had spent extra money on those consumables, so is even further in the hole than the scoreboard shows.
Golden Guardians are going to have to dig in and make sure this lead doesn't bleed out into something much greater. They have tools to fight Cloud9 later on in the game, but all the tools in the world aren't going to help you if it's 20 minutes into the game and you're down 7,000 gold. They've got to make sure that they can stop this C9 advantage from growing much larger. Blabber still farming through the jungle very effectively. You can see 39 versus 24 just in the jungle CS. Nidalee pacing is top tier.
Certainly is. But as we get later into the game, C9 are going to be very reliant on their poke as MNS underneath the tower.
All out, just looking for the dive on Gory. He doesn't have the turret aggro. He only damaged him outside of the range, so he was able to continue chasing after this here. Gory has the Q3, throws it out, MNS with a good dodge.
It's Yasuo versus Tank Yasuo. The new addition here, and it's going to be a draw for now. Blabber bottom side.
The River is here shadowing his bottom lane duo. MNS gonna rotate over to this. Gory's doing the same, but they'll run into each other in the River if they just keep walking this direction. He's down to 200 HP. River jumps in, they're going after Blabber. The grand entrance isn't enough. Blabber gets the kill onto He and Stixxay has to run back underneath the turret. Blabber's at 100 HP and River's gonna be killed. Blabber doesn't drop. A double kill back over to the Nidalee, and Cloud9 gets 3.
Well, you could call that an early snowball, all right. Cloud9, they're not taking any chances with this one. What a dive. All of Golden Guardians falling there.
It's a repeat of the LCS finals. It was Blabber on his Poppy that was absolutely popping off, finding kill after kill all across the board. I doubted his Nidalee, but he has shown up here in Game 4.
He tried to go in to get the knock-up on him, and he just got his face bitten off, immediately dropping.
You know,
Blabber with the
birds
level up.
and cats don't get on, Kobe. And Blabber really showcasing that relationship. Gory, of course, as this matchup continues to go on, those early armor boots paying dividends for MNS. And he is able to get ahead in a lot of these skirmishes. The grasp as well, offering him a little bit more sustain. As overall, Golden Guardians very quickly losing control of this early game. 3.5K is the deficit that they already find themselves in.
That's so suffocating. 8 minutes into the game. The Herald hasn't even spawned yet, and Cloud9 is on average 700 gold ahead of each of their counterparts.
And you look at the level advantage as well for Blabber. He is more than a whole level over River. Pretty early into the game, it's actually difficult to... flash ult!
Oh, flash ulti from the Bear as Berserker wants The piercing arrow doesn't find the damage, but the rain of arrows does. Berserker gets the kill, and it's 5-0 C9.
Vengeance for the bottom lane here. Cloud9 are angry.
Gory now looking for a trade in mid. We'll take a tower shot with the ult.
Oh, beautifully done with the all out to take Gory exactly where he wants him, away from the turret, away from any safety, and into a spot where Gory is forced to flash back.
And this will be a completely uncontested Herald. The crab to boot. Wow. C9 are just dominating. And I mentioned it's a callback to the finals, and it was one of those situations where I remember you guys talking on the desk where, like, wow, Golden Guardians, they keep getting these early advantages. This is where they have that advantage over C9, and then C9 come in and go, no, we can still play early game, and they're doing the exact same thing in this series. Blabber is completely unleashed, and oh no, oh River, no!
River, goodbye, buddy! The donger will not be denied! Sven just walks into the enemy jungle, kills the jungler, and now he's gonna walk right on back out. He tries to stop him, but Sven's just casually walking away. Stixxay tries to join for the chase, join for the damage, but Cloud9's got more players, and Sven gets out.
In the wise words of Heimerdinger, if you can't heal him or cure him, you bury him.
Sven Stylen there walking his way out with his blue hair chroma as well as the Cloud9 emote span. Now, I'm not saying this will happen, but I always feel it necessary when there is a full snowball poke comp like this to give the public service announcement that when these types of comps do fail and do crash, they crash in a very big way. Once the all-out engage comp actually does get the engage and gets some bounties and gets gold to team fight their way back into it, it can all come to a screeching halt. However, Cloud9 are very, very far ahead with this. Don't expect it to stop anytime soon.
I mean, that's the nature of these types of compositions that Cloud9 has drafted. It either looks like this, or if you fail to do this, you just get absolutely slammed because of your failure to accelerate the game. Right now, it's Gory coming in with the ulti. The help of the other Golden Guardians members may just be able to set them up for their first kill of the game, and yes, it will. Unfortunately for the Guardians, it goes over to River instead of to Gory, but he's gonna look for a little bit more. He goes in for the flash into the grand entrance, and Gory gets paid this time. It's 2 kills over to the Guardians, but they gotta get Huhi out. Now it's C9 fighting back with Blabber as Gory continues the chase. Berserker gets a killing spree in the 1v1 against Stixay Seri, and now Gory's gotta head for the hills. A spear over the wall does not connect, but Huhi's ready with the grand entrance yet again. The stopwatch so Blabber can't kill him back, and a 700 gold shutdown back over to the Golden Guardians mid lane.
Those shutdowns are quite meaningful. Yes, it's still a ginormous gold gap for Cloud9, but the warning signs are starting to show. You get a couple of picks like this, you start to get some gold back for the hard engaged team, and it can turn it around. Anyway, Cloud9 though, they still got the dragon, and they still actually turned around a couple of kills. As you see, Berserker, he fights his way out of the 1v1 with Stixay. Sven does end up going down, but Blabber also being able to find it a little bit.
Really, it's the damage from Berserker that gives C9 the ability to turn this around. Even in his 1v1, it looks like that he's going to die, but he gets the 3 passive up, hits him with the Q. The execution damage is massive, and then Blabber overextends a little bit, thinking he can get himself another kill, but it ends up going in the favor of Golden Guardians. In respect to them, as they are a resilient team, they're now looking for a play in top.
Can't quite close the distance there. Unfortunately for Licorice, there was nothing to slam Fudge into to get him there long enough for River to close the gap. And now bottom lane, not just 12 minutes, I should say, into the game. The first turret goes down, and it's solo gold to Berserker.
And so you have to keep up pace when you're running a comp like this. You take this bottom tower very, very early, then you immediately rotate that pressure, keep it up on the other side, collect as many turret plates as possible. Ideally, of course, 15, but as many as you can possibly get early on here for Cloud9 to really hit that snowball home.
They're going to drop the Herald mid, yeah.
Okay. A little bit of scuffle back and forth, but nothing seriously committed from either side. C9 wanting to force this Herald forward. They want to get the charge. Licorice goes in. He looks for M&S. M&S gets rooted up by the Maokai ulti, but now River could be in some danger. Twisted advance back to a minion, getting himself away. Gory with a knock-up, but the kill first from Blabber onto Huhi. Gory dies before he can get anybody. That's the power of the gold lead, and Cloud9 get 2 for nothing.
Yep, they've got that bottom lane recall coming up mid lane to help support the Herald push. They get the extra kill. They should be able to finish out the tower as well. Then you just continue to rotate. Bottom's up, checked off, mid is checked off, go top, get the last couple of turret plates there too.
Blabber is just executing River in his own jungle. This Nidalee performance is incredible. Very much not what I was expecting, but his early game dominance has been sublime. More plates will be funneled into Berserker. They've secured 10, make that 12. He's looking to secure 13 as those plates will be falling off in 30 seconds time. Just absolute domination in the early game. 9,000 is the goal difference as we cross Lita clock.
I said earlier, if you're down 7,000 gold at 20 minutes, you're still not that afraid of a comp that's got the tools to deal with you. 9,000 gold at 14's even better for this Cloud9 team that has just built an incredible lead. You said you want 15 plates. I'll settle for 13 out of 15. I think that's pretty good.
I'm a strict parent.
Yeah.
What? 13? What happened to the other 2?
Yeah. Well, they will be falling off, but that does mean that that top tower is still
13
very
versus
weak.
0.
Yeah.
Not even a single plate for the Golden Guardians. just suffocated this entire early game by the range and the power of Cloud9.
Exactly, and that's the key there. You're never going to be able to push back and get some for yourselves with this massive range disadvantage on the side of the Golden Guardians.
From the crowd as they see the gold difference at 14 presented by MasterCard. Just an absolute gap between Blabber, Berserker, and their lane counterparts right now.
And what they have to do to make the hard engage side of it work for Golden Guardians is choose their moment wisely. Have everybody full commit. You cannot hesitate when you go for the comeback play. And you have to get Berserker because he's got the biggest bounty on his head. You need to make it worthwhile.
Well, I'm now going to be tracking if Cloud9 from this position can close it out cleanly. Obviously, we've been critical of Golden Guardians, who consistently throughout the series have been able to find early game leads, but then they consistently get picked off. Let's look back at this fight, as it starts off with M&S getting rooted up. A knockup will come through from Huhi. The follow-up from Gory looks good initially, but then this knockback, or the ultimate rather, from M&S bringing Gory back means that he gets completely isolated away from his team, and C9 secure the tower and themselves a kill.
Pain.
You hate to see it if you're on Golden Guardians. Cloud9 fans are loving it, though. Second Drake of the game is up and available, but Cloud9 have been so much more concerned with accelerating the gold lead that they're only just now going to be getting to this.
Okay, so steps forward now after all of the early plays. Finish off the dragon. You never let Golden Guardians even sniff around an objective because objective bounties are on the map due to the massive snowball. But then you can just rotate again. Even though there's no turret plates on top side, you still want the outer tower. Get that pressure down. That's the easiest low-hanging fruit of gold left on the map. And you can move in these ward lines. Good example here. They've already got it on blue, on Gromp. You strangle the Golden Guardians' gold income. Don't let them get any of their neutral resources.
And that's exactly what M&S is doing. He'll take the Gromp away. Sven putting down some wards on the other side of the Golden Guardians jungle. If River tries to go in and farm anything, he's going to find nothing left. 70 farm on a Maokai versus 146 there for Blabber's Nidalee.
And he's squishy, Flowers.
Yeah.
He's decided to go for more of the damage build, and this Nidalee is more than happy to punish it. Berserker just chipping away at the health bar of River. This red buff, I'm afraid, doesn't belong to you, River.
No, sir. Licorice trying to deal with Blabber. Sven coming up to assist. Throws out the grenade, only gets the slow, not the stun. Blabber throws out another spear. Nice sidestep from Licorice. The turret is down in the top lane, and the Herald is walking towards the tier 2. Golden Guardians should be able to stop this charge before it can complete. Cloud9 backs away. They don't want to overcommit for something just like a Herald tier 2 charge. They want to make sure that they're continuing to move this forward without any of those big mistakes.
Blabber's done such a good job on this Nidalee, facilitating the game plan here. Doubling the Maokai and farm, counter jungling him. He is the same level as the opponent's solo laners at the moment. In this day and age for jungles, that is a feat. Definitely well done from him. On double item power spike, you've got so much flat penetration with your sword shoes as well on top. So that poke definitely hurts. And the area that Golden Guardians have to try and dodge all of this poke damage gets smaller and smaller. The map continues to constrict around them.
M&S not afraid to jump in 1v2 against River and Huhi fighting for this Gromp. Yeah, they even have Licorice coming over, but a 1v3 is still pretty good odds for a team that's 10,000 gold ahead.
They got the Gromp. That's a dub for the Guardians.
It's a very optimistic dub for sure.
Gotta take them where you get them now.
At this point, you're really just trying to buy time. You're stalling the game out for as long as you can, and you're praying that C9 can't really snowball this advantage, but the fact that they have a near 10k gold lead should be proof enough that they have the ability to snowball. The spear will land on a Huhi. He'll take a bit of damage, forced to back away. And there's no objective to play for, so as you rightly said, C9 just suffocating all the resources away from Golden Guardians. Licorice tries to enter. He's the tank, you remember, by the way.
Yeah.
He's trying his best to get some information back, and Blabber immediately says, no, sir, this area does not belong to you.
He's the tank, but right now he's armor, 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 and some health. No MR. Very easy for Blabber's Nidalee to just chunk him down with that spell pen build like you're talking about. Those 3 items are just a nightmare for any target that doesn't at least have some form of magic resist. Your spears are practically doing true damage, and for Blabber, he's just dialing these in, unafraid to move forward. Look at the traps all throughout the enemy jungle.
Oh, here we go.
Golden Guardians are coming in. They're going to send it down bot, try to make a play, try to make a collapse. Licorice goes, but he won't find anything. Golden Golden Guardians still chasing with the Nature's Grasp, trying to see if they can get any of these valuable targets. Jimenez remains here on the front line as the chains of corruption do not connect onto anyone from the Golden Guardians. That was the attempt, that was the send, and it didn't get anybody.
C9 have so many disengage tools with the mobility on the Nidalee, but Sven's ultimate, you have Varus ultimate, like there are so many ways in which C9 can just, if Golden Guardians don't have the optimal flank, immediately disengage, and that's exactly what they do. They'll walk away, just forcing a TP out of Golden Guardians. Of course, they did trade TP of their own, but overall, they walk away happy knowing that it's only desperation from here on out for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, and there you do have to choose your point to all in very, very wisely. You know, they don't get any flashes out of Cloud9, but critically, as you say, you know, they don't offer themselves up for extra kills, and so it just is the trade of teleports. And the response there, though, from Cloud9 is going to be a reminder. Keep all of our flanks clear, completely clear this vision on the map. Don't let Golden Guardians get that angle.
And you can see the build from M&S has the Frostfire Gauntlet, building towards the Randuin's next. He's up against two champions that really like crit. He's also only up against one AP threat, and it happens to be a Maokai that is just leagues behind this Nidalee. So he knows that MR is not going to be a concern. It's so easy for the Cassante to frontline with this lead and with all these cannons lined up behind him.
And he's the solo bouncer of Club Cloud9 here, where Blabber, Berserker, Sven, and Fudge have all been partying, and Baron's going to be the new site.
Hang on a minute now. This is how Golden Guardians get back into this game. C9 have to be very cautious about how they play this one.
Licorice on the Poppy. That's going to have to be something. I don't think there's any way they win a 5v5. They're going to have to make it an unfair fight. Okay, they knocked Blabber away, but unfortunately the Baron wasn't low enough to try to jump in and immediately find a steal thereafter.
Well, Golden Guardians have direct access to the Dragon now, but with Blabber's mobility, he's going to quickly dash on over and look to contest this one. But at least Golden Guardians have access to the river, which is more than they had a few moments ago.
Yeah, unlucky for Golden Guardians. They just moved the jungler.
Ruhi with a knock-up. They may have found a pick. Fudge gets away, rooted up right in front of the turret, and Golden Guardians get a shutdown. River taking the kill on that one. They don't lose anybody in return. Stixxay's very low. He will not die, flashing away with 100 HP to stay alive. Nidalee Spear from downtown hits Licorice for a big chunk. So Golden Guardians are going to get one kill, but C9 are the ones with better health. C9 are the ones still with control over neutral territory, and C9 are going to go to Soul Point.
Yeah, they still have so much damage. Look at these item advantages for Cloud9. So even though Golden Guardians get that pick, they take down Fudge, they get a couple of flashes here. Cloud9 still keep their dragon stacking, keep on pace, and Golden Guardians haven't been able to cash in on any of those big bounties.
A lot of flashes were used in that exchange, but promising play from Golden Guardians. They catch Fudge off guard. He gets taunted. The flash response from Berserker to get away to safety. The knockup is long enough to allow Goy to land the ultimate. The chain CC then comes through from River, and the damage was enough to secure that kill. But look at the return damage from Sven and Berserker. Their poke was just astronomical. The spear forces Stixxay to move a little bit to the left, which then gives Blabber an opportunity where he ends up trading flashes with the enemy AD carry, and that's going to prove important as we get closer to the next fight.
Yeah, that fight could be the setup fight for Golden Guardians' actual comeback one. As you mentioned, multiple flashes blown there. Now Berserker and Fudge and Blabber, all possible targets there for them.
Easier said than done.
A lot easier, actually.
Golden Guardians.
In this case.
Still down 9,000 gold. Still
Just
down
win. It's that
ranks.
easy, you know what I mean?
You can say it. There you go.
If you're losing too many games of League of Legends, simply start winning more games of League of Legends.
Wise words, Captain Flowers.
Unfortunately, it's
Have they tried
the reality Golden
killing
Guardians are in right now. The Baron's still up 23.5 minutes into the game. This is around the time when game one ended, so even with the lead Cloud9 have, it's still going better than that for the Golden Guardians. But C9 are trying to choke them out of this jungle. They're placing down the vision, sitting down these Nidalee traps as well. Gonna give you extra control in the enemy jungle. It's so scary, so dangerous for Golden Guardians to step up.
So the lethal situation that C9 finds themselves in is that their Baron isn't actually that fast. By going for the lethality virus, it does mean that your Baron clear is a little bit slower. So they can't just have 2-3 members just doing it this early on into the game. They kind of do need to commit to it to some degree. And in order to do that, they have to move into the topside jungle and completely suffocate Golden Guardians out of the pit. Either find a pick, leverage the 4v5, and then convert it into a fight. And this means the Golden Guardians actually have some space and time to get their next objective, get their next item, so they can actually find a better contest around the Baron.
That's exactly why I personally, with poke comps, as Blabber is in.
Blabber leading the charge for C9. Teleport coming in on top of them. Golden Guardians, as soon as they see those Cloud9 lines reinforcing, they have to retreat.
Personally, with poke comps, I like to black out the vision on both sides and then move up and get these secondary turrets. You continue sieging until your advantage is at a maximum, but Cloud9 are in the jungle again.
Okay, M&S frontlining once more. He's not worried about this at all. That's his role. They find a ton of damage down into Licorice, who wants to disengage. The Poppycopter is grounded, and M&S shot the rocket. C9 taking out the enemy top laner, taking out that powerful disengage mechanism. That's the green light to head back over to Baron.
Exactly. That is the optimal pick to find. One of the big frontliners, one of the disengage tools is gone. The Baron slowly making its way down. The TP will come in from Gory. Infinity Edge picked up. Last chance for Golden Guardians.
You feel like they have to steal this Baron away if they want any chance left in the game. Nature's Grasp over the wall. River waiting for the flash. He goes in!
My!
River just stole it away! But what will it actually mean? Cloud9 have a 5v3. What will they do?
The story of MSI is throwing at Baron, and Cloud9, they did not do their due diligence. River with the flash steal keeps Golden Guardians alive.
Oh, they need, M&S gets rooted by the Maokai ult. He can't get over there to keep him out. And M&S is the only one with true block, I guess. Yeah, I mean, Berserker Ultimate maybe?
Oh, hold on. We got a little bit of a fight breaking out. Gory and Licorice versus Fudge and M&S. Gory's got to try to get away. Licorice does not have the damage to fight these guys on his own. M&S still just staying here on the front line.
The team is coming
up behind him. Berserker has the damage, but with Stixxay showing up, C9 does not want to overcommit. M&S is too low.
Why is who he done in bot lane? I guess he's getting vision around the dragon, Blabber.
He's not in a very good spot now, that's for sure. Blabber marks him with the spear, jumps in. That's about half his HP. Another spear. Blabber's still on the hunt, but he does not want to chase any further because he knows who he's got backup coming.
It's for these two wards right there.
They don't have TP.
But they're setting up to be able to have angles here to look around, try and suss out a possibility. Their job's not done. That's just one objective bounty here.
True.
Look at the massive gold difference still standing. Golden Guardians, though, that's the first step. That is their hope.
I'll be honest, like, I very much agree with you, Kobe, that I think the play from C9 should have actually been to take these tier 2 towers. Like, leverage Fog to take advantage of your poke, chip away at the opposition, give you more space over that top side to then make it even easier to secure that objective. While they will get the dragon, it doesn't actually suddenly make it easy for you to siege into the base, right? Like, as long as the vision can maintain and Golden Guardians can navigate their way past all the poke, they can hold the line, they can defend, and they can just continue to storm.
And it looks like they're going to trade for a top objective bounty here. So Dragon is taken and the secondary tower here for Cloud9, but Licorice is up there on the top side trying to get an objective bounty on the top outer turret.
Well, that's 5 turrets to now finally the first turret of the game for Golden Guardians, dropping just about 28 minutes in as Licorice and the minions will do the work to pick it up. They still are, however, 8,000 gold behind, and the Chem Soul has been claimed by Cloud9. This means if the game goes on for another 5.5 minutes, the Elder Drake will be spawned. Now, on one hand, if Cloud9 gets that, I think Nidalee Spears can straight up one-hit someone. If Golden Guardians gets it, we know that Elder Drake is the great equalizer in League of Legends. The game continues. Golden Guardians are still alive for now, but man, this is a tough spot to play from.
Execution on the Elder also makes your Chemtech Soul a lot less useful. Golden Guardians with that Baron buff, Corey, chunking down on the bottom side, but you don't want to overextend too much. Rotation from both teams here. You see Golden Guardians funneling in. They're gonna...
What are we going to commit to here, boys?
I think a dive on M&S.
Well, Berserker is headed to the top side of the map, so Cloud9 should just leave this. M&S is probably out of there then.
Yeah, M&S just trying to get himself away. Golden Guardians have 4 players down here. M&S does have backup in the form of Blabber and Sven. Meanwhile, up in the top side, Fudge versus Licorice.
Berserker's there too.
Licorice is holding his own. Berserker from back behind him. Chains of Corruption ain't gonna hit, and Licorice is ready to walk away. Poppycopter misses. Meanwhile, back in the bottom lane, Sven's gonna be taken low, but nobody's dead yet. Never mind, it's a shutdown. They get the kill back onto Blabber. It's Golden Guardians finding one, but losing one on the other side of the map as Licorice falls. Stixxay chasing after Sven, wants to ride the Zeri wall, goes over, looks for the zap, but doesn't hit. Sven gets away, Berserker still pushing up in the top side.
I still think that it's C9 that walk away with the bigger advantage, though. Berserker has overstayed his welcome.
That's 1,000 gold right there. Gory sees it, double teleport to defend.
Double teleport protecting the AD carry, and M&S goes all out.
Clean with it. They are so ready to defend Berserker with their lives. He is a walking 1,000 gold bag right there. An instant teleporting Cassante ult. Guess what?
That is like one of the best examples of protect the president I've ever seen.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like, they were just like, sir, you have been left alone in the top lane. TP, 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 TP.
Just
Yeah,
descend.
exactly. Oh, they were there to escort him to safety, and they were able to neutralize the assassin. Gory does not find a pick. Cloud9, while they did concede a shutdown in Blabber, losing his life, Golden Guardians still have a massive mountain to climb. So far, they've been able to buy time. The Baron spawns in a minute's time, and they have been able to take down these tier 2 towers. Now only the tier 3s remain between the Nexus and Cloud9, which means that what we need to see is calm play, good vision investment on the top side. Ideally, you want to use your poke to chip away at Golden Guardians before they can really set up for, or find a pick on the river, that works too.
Yeah.
But you want to make it as hard as possible for Golden Guardians to just face check this area of the map and get even close to the back.
Yasuo in bottom lane. Blade of the Ruined King, Infinity Edge, has the zeal just for the baseline power and cost efficiency of that component, working towards a Dead Man's Plate as his next big item. Some armor to withstand some of the poke from the Jace and the Varus, but those two are incredibly scary with the Manamune fully evolved on both, Cyrilda's Grudge for the armor penetration, as well as the ability slow on both of those pokes. You can see the Zhonya's Hourglass completed as the third major item on Blabber, gives the Nidalee the ability to throw the spear, jump in for the follow-up burst, and not immediately be targeted right after. Golden Guardians held on with a Baron steal before, and now Baron has respawned again.
Whoever is pushing out mid lane for Cloud9 is gonna be in a little bit of a sketchy scenario there, because that's where Golden Guardian's trying to flank
Okay,
from.
here we go. Baron once again started up. Licorice has the TP. There is that water bug, but he's grouped up with the team.
They slam M&S into the wall. They fire off the Maokai ulti, but there's no way the Guardians can kill M&S in time before the rest of Cloud9's at least able to fire back a little bit. Huhi with a massive knockup. Gory's there for the follow. M&S is down. Fudge is being chased by Stixxay, but Berserker goes unstoppable and gets one back on the Huhi. Gory also gonna drop. Stixxay's trying to fire back. They kill onto Gory from Blabber, but with M&S, Blabber, and Fudge all down, it's only Berserker and Sven remaining for the side of Cloud9, and Golden Guardians lose the Baron this time, but they win the fight right after.
Oh, they're not done. Here we go. Berserker turns on River. He stops his recall. It's just the Maokai, though. Not a lot of threat there.
I think River's just trying to buy time, interrupt the back so that Golden Guardians are able to maybe trade it for this mid tower. The goal difference pretty much remains the same as C9 lose 3 members off the back of that Baron play.
This is why 20 minutes ago, I gave you a public service announcement warning. When these comps fall, they do tend to fall in a very big way, especially with the potency of objective bounties. They got one off the first Baron steal for Golden Guardians, and they get a couple of these straggling towers that are left up really far and exposed, and you start to get just some money into the hard engaged team. And while the goal difference relatively remains the same, when it rises a little bit here for the possible all-in, could get very dangerous. So Cloud9, they got to focus up.
Okay, there's no Rakan flash, there's no Zeri flash, there's no Poppy flash for the Golden Guardians, and the Elder Drake is spawning right now.
Look at what Golden Guardians are doing on the bot side. They're doing their best to find a way into this bot jungle so that they still have some vision and ways to contest this Elder. They do not want to give it for free. Stixxay needs to be very careful,
Yes.
and
He's
he
going
will be
deep
fine
again.
for now. Wow, Huhi is so deep. But now Blabber is suspicious. He's like, how did this ward just get here?
Yeah.
Huhi must be in the vicinity. He's looking for him.
Blabber with the spear over the wall into the Krugs. They got
He's
vision of
found
Huhi. They know that he's there.
They found River as well, who he
wants to be able to dash to River for safety. Meanwhile, the route on to Gory. That was the chains of corruption from the Varus. Berserker locking down the enemy mid laner, doing a lot of damage, forcing a flash over the wall from Maokai as well as Cloud9 forces the Golden Guardians back. This is what you guys were talking about. Cloud9's poke before the objective. Whittle down those health bars. Make it so Golden Guardians can't full send, can't full commit. The Elder's already down to 5,000. Licorice going for an eject. They knock him an ass out of the fight, so now they've got the ability to jump in and try to fight everybody else, but the Elder Dragon's already been claimed, and River and Huhi are both already dead. Berserker finds the kills, and now even more damage is gonna pour in. Blabber gets the execution on one. Is he gonna get it on two? The shield wears away, and it's a triple kill to Blabber's Nidalee. Cloud9 is on the warpath, and the path leads to the victory march. Golden Guardians stood and fought for 35 minutes, but Cloud9's poke comp was executed right, and they're going right down mid lane. Nexus turret number 1, goodbye. Gory, goodbye. Golden Guardians, goodbye. And Cloud9 moves on at MSI.
3-1 in finals, 3-1 at MSI. Cloud9 once again taking care of business versus the Golden Guardians.
very controlled gameplay around that Elder. The idea from Golden Guardians was promising, trying to find those flank wards, but Blabber had already seen Huhi make these sneaky plays on the bot side of the map. He seemed very aware of that potential flank, and he tried to shut it down. The second that River lost his flash, it was all over. They took their time, they leveraged their poke, and they were able to cleanly secure that objective. Cloud9 convincingly take the edge over Golden Guardians, and as you said, Flowers, move on at MSI.
Golden Guardians, for a team that was down 9,000 gold at 14 minutes, I am very impressed. They made it to 35 minutes in that game. The first Baron steal from River was absolutely instrumental in doing that. But the problem was, it goes back to what you were saying. If Golden Guardians' biggest strength is slamming the early game, and you're Cloud9 and you're willing to call them on that, you draft a comp like this, you play it like this, and you make it so Golden Guardians could never play the Golden Guardians game.
And here's what I'll say. Expectations coming into this tournament were very low for Golden Guardians. There wasn't this massive belief that they would be able to dominate everyone at the tournament, but I think that at every opportunity they continue to surprise in more ways than one. And while I think that this roster does have areas to improve upon, considering the organization's achievements this year alone, I think that it's fair to say that Golden Guardians showed more than many were expecting.
This is for sure the most successful year for the Golden Guardians ever.